You cannot compare. No.
I question the purpose. I question the business. When I think of the two of those, what sort of marketing strategy is taking something mature and lore-driven, advertising it to a young demographic, primarily boys around the age of 10 and under? When has the strategy of making an action figure line of an R-rated horror film advertised to children ever paid off? Oh, it's happened. What business does a failing toy company have in advertising buildable, lore-driven action figures to the demographic of Power Rangers and TMNT? Let's be honest. The amount of attempts at bringing an R-rated movie to a marketable child demographic, practically endless. But come on, what child wouldn't want a chest-bursting action figure? Personally, this is far more respectable than dipping your franchise below the restricted rating. LEGO has always been family-friendly. If I was in charge of marketing during the era, I'd question taking something as complex and sophisticated as BIONICLE, presenting to children a dark, complex story in only a 30-second advert, hoping it could compete with bright, fast-paced, high-vitality ads, reliant on a soothing narrator, and visuals entirely in CGI. Was BIONICLE a gamble from the beginning? Did LEGO have any sort of guarantee that this would thrive? If I was involved in marketing of the era, I'd question where, and especially when, is the best time to advertise such a new original concept. Before BIONICLE carved its niche, it needed to find the fans, the people who would instantly latch onto it. But in their perspective, who would I find to be the most applicable? The answer is children. But just how did it prove everyone wrong? BIONICLE succeeded despite advertising to a young demographic associated with high energy, fast-paced, bright, attention-grabbing media, proving it was the perfect market. Compare the original commercials to other toys in 2001. Many of the narrators are high-pitched and rushing through a script to finish a 30-second segment. Plenty of kids interacting with the toys themselves. BIONICLE was barely like this. All the interactions you see is nothing but hand and action figure, with Tony Wedgwood's brilliant narration calmly narrating the story of the Toa and their quest for Matanui. LEGO proved they were more than capable of building their way into the world of action figures. The Biological Chronicle is LEGO's third attempt at an action figure line. Perhaps the first time they proved they could pull it off, releasing figures in a quick succession, doing seasonal releases of figures, tying the story together, expanding the cast, and even exploring new territory. Safe to say, where Slizers, Throwbots, and Robo-Riders adapted, BIONICLE triumphed. LEGO reclaimed relevance in a whole new magnitude. Like Toei, they never thought one idea was too absurd or worth attempting. They throw everything at the wall, seeing what works and what doesn't, learning from their failures and building on their strengths. BIONICLE is definitive notoriety, proving toys can still be cool and well loved by kids, no matter how many games or game consoles we own. The toy line to feature film adaptation is ongoing for multiple decades now, ranging in gamut from pathetic to pointless to painful. These fears resonated when Mask of Light was announced. LEGO had never proposed a feature film to any of their franchises. I had my doubts when I saw clip art. I had my doubts upon seeing screenshots and how every character had hands. By Matanui's grace, everyone was proved wrong. The rarity of pulling a feature film out of a toy line is an extremity. BIONICLE is a succession, and the perfect example of when everything falls in the right place with the right amount of backing, with the right amount of care and attention. I recall when Technic was strictly for vehicles, machine-based equipment-like toys, building out of plastic, reminiscent of heavy machinery. What more could fans ask for? It turns out, as Technic was thinking outside the brick, another layer was realized and implemented. Was it not Christian Faber who suggested, why can't we build figures out of this, not just vehicles? It absolutely worked. Throwbots introduced the concept of bringing Technic into a figure-based system. 2 years later, BIONICLE fleshed out the characters we fell in love with in a new level of articulation and storytelling. As stated in the Big Book of LEGO, how were they to attempt and even enter the market of action figures while retaining the system they developed decades prior? The concept of Build-A-Figure existed long before, without much thrill or market interest. This all changed in 2001, and who better to usher in the constructible action figure than the Titan builders themselves? BIONICLE would succeed Technic, proving the builder's mentality expands beyond the brick. When LEGO first developed the builder system, it became the reason we can take a brick from the 1970s and combine it with a brick of 2023. They continued refining and improving the system throughout. To this day, they're introducing new ideas, compatible with what was established. As the brick thrives as a marvel of geometry, Technic is therefore the marvel of engineering. Most Technic fans began with the brick. Even fans of the traditional LEGO build cannot deny the benefit of a deep story, engineered around sockets and axles. The proof that irrelevant genres can coexist and create a cohesive story. Mechanical machines containing a nervous system and vital organs on a tropical island, elemental abilities and manipulation, gladiator-style arenas, celestial divinities. There does not exist a comparison to BIONICLE. When I think of another medium that seamlessly blends so many unrelated genres, it's gargoyles. In urban fantasy, with mythology, Shakespeare, science fiction, and even horror. Last year, a subscriber brought this to my attention, but it's the focus that BIONICLE proved you could tell the story throughout multiple mediums, cohesively, consecutively, and all within canon. There are exceptions, such as certain points of lore in the video games, and even the toothbrushes, but the majority of BIONICLE is relevant to the entirety of the chronicle. But in the modern era of 2023, look at franchises such as the MCU, Or look at how every successful IP is branching off into every medium possible. Night at the Museum now has an animation on Disney+. Magic the Gathering is under production of a Netflix series. Resident Evil has a TV show also on the same network. Apparently it's absolute trash. But this is what BIONICLE proved from the very beginning. It can market and be successful from the simplicity of branding your name on a Nerf-like gun to the severely limited run of sticker publications. Humor, for example, plays a free motif role throughout BIONICLE. It's never major, it's definitely there, but it feels relevant. But even when it started, it was never appealing in the same way as other toy lines. The focus was always on more serious themes, like brotherhood, purpose, with a high focus on triumph over your own personal flaws. But even so, these more mature and even adult themes appeal to children. Children who could barely write a full sentence latched onto BIONICLE at instantaneous levels. To this day, I ponder, has BIONICLE always appealed more to children than teenagers? This video is a new, formatted endeavor of Rated Exploited. I am Rokalai, and my goal here was to approach with a whole new idea and conceptual format for a video. Be ready for next week as I upload every Saturday evening. Your views are appreciated, and your subscriptions are an open-armed welcome.
You